أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we continue with the messages of prophetic stories in Quran. Today we have a very interesting case. It is going to be a Prophet Musa. Moses is a part of Musa alayhi salam's story. And the title we put for this one is Justice Beyond Kinship, Guilty of My Own People or Innocent of My Enemy. Let's see how this story is going to unfold. So first I will read the portion of the story. Let's do it together. And then we will focus on parts of the verses, inshallah. This is going to be from Surah Al-Qasas, and we start with verse number 14. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. When he reached full age and was firmly established, we bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge, for thus do we reward those who do good. And the backstory is Musa alayhi salam, before he was born, children of Israel was living in Egypt, but they were under super oppression. Their males were being murdered, children and women were being kept alive. So they were like the third-class citizens, sort of like slaves of that society back then. And in this case, when the soldiers come to capture or take Musa, the baby Musa, his mom releases him to the river, and then he ends up in the palace of Pharaoh, and he is raised up as a prince. So one of children of Israel is being raised up as a prince, and this is where now we are picking up the story. When he comes to this age, he was bestowed with wisdom and knowledge, for thus to be reward those who do good. ودخل المدينة على حين غفلة من أهلها فوجد فيها رجلين يقتتلان هذا من شيعته وهذا من عدوه. So once he entered the city at a time when its people were heedless, and he encountered two men fighting. So فوجد فيها رجلين يقتتلان هذا من شيعته وهذا من عدوه. One of whom belonged to his own group, and the other to his enemies. فاستغاثه الذي من شيعته على الذي من عدوه. So the man belonging to Moses' own people cried out to him for help against the man from his enemies. فَبَكَزَهُ مُوسَى فَغَرَى عَلَيْهِ. And Moses struck him with his fist and finished him, or he died. قال هذا من عمل الشيطان. He said, this is an act of Satan. إنه عدو مضل مبين. Surely he is an enemy who openly misleads. Slightly closer. قال رب إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي فغفر له إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. He said, my Lord, indeed I have wronged my soul, so forgive me. Then he forgave him. Indeed he is the forgiving, the merciful. قال رب بما أنعمت علي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. He said, my Lord, because of the favor that you have done me, I shall never support the guilty. So this is where we are so far. So we are going to unfold this verse quite a bit. But this event is happening. He is supporting the one from his group. The word Shia here is like his group, his people, against his enemy, the one who is from his enemy. But then at the end, we are observing some sort of a remorse. قال ربي إني ظلمت نفسي. I wronged myself. This is something we will pick up on again. And then at the end, he makes a conclusion. I shall never support the guilty, the wrongdoer. This is his conclusion after this scene. Then فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب. And morning found him in the city, like he came to the next day, vigilant, fearing and vigilant. فإذا الذي استنصره بالأمس يستصرخ. And then the one who had appealed to him, who asked for his help yesterday, the day before, cried out to him for help. Again, the next. قال له موسى إنك لغوي مبين. Moses said unto him, you are truly, it's clear, a troublesome fellow. Now Musa is realizing that this guy is a troublemaker. فلما أن أراد أن يبطش بالذي هو عدو لهما قال يا موسى أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت نفسا بالأمس. And when he intended to strike the man who was an enemy unto them both, he said, O Moses, would you kill me as you did kill a person yesterday? إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. Would be nothing but a tyrant in the land, you would not be of the reformers, or the one that makes things correct. Muslim. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة يسعى قال يا موسى إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلوك فاخرج إني لك من الناصحين. And a man came from the uttermost part of the city running. He said, O Moses, for sure the chiefs take counsel against you to kill you. Therefore escape. Certainly I am of those who give you sincere advice. So somebody from the high part of the city is coming, probably somebody who knows about those chiefs of the city. Like he's coming from a high part of the city, and also he's bringing the news from Mela, the chiefs of the city. So we can maybe deduce that this guy is also some high-ranking official, but he's coming to give some advice, sincere advice. And listening to this advice, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. He therefore got away therefrom, looking about in a state of fear. قَالَ رَبِّي نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. He said, my Lord, deliver me from the wrongdoing folk. ولما توجه تلقاء مدين قال عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. And when he turned his face towards Midian, this is the city, he said, I do hope that my Lord will show me smooth and straight path. So this is the large story. We will just focus to the part of it. I put before and after so that we get a clearer picture about the context. Okay, so let's get back to here. This is again the first two verses. When he reached full age and was firmly established, we bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge, for thus do we reward those who do good. Let's start from there. So in this verse, the emphasis I would like to highlight is he came to this age and he is given wisdom and knowledge. But in what follows, we see that he is getting into some trouble with wisdom. Like he is doing some act, and then he is feeling remorse for that. So, and actually, eventually Musa alayhi salam is going to receive law, is going to become a lawgiver. Like he will truly receive wisdom and knowledge throughout his life. One part of it, I believe, do not have. Yes. So among the 10 commandments, right? So he will receive law in his life. So maybe we can understand this verse as it's not that immediately at this age he was given wisdom and knowledge, but the rest of the story is going to be an example of how he is given wisdom and knowledge. Like through events in life also, he was instructed. Like he finds himself in this situation. And as we will talk about the situation, it's as they call it, a sticky situation. Like it's not a crystal clear who is right, who is wrong. So then this verse is going to take a good portion of our time today. He entered the city at a time when its people were heedless. When its people were heedless. Let's try to see, because Quran is simply giving us a single sentence about the case. Why? Is it that the Creator didn't see the details of it? Or we are going to find ourselves in such a situation where when you are in the situation, you will only know as much, and you will make a decision based on that. And this is the gist of the matter. Because Quran is omitting many details in here. Because in life, this is how it happens as well. Let's read into the situation again. Like children of Israel are the oppressed people. Pharaoh and his people are oppressing them. Even if not individuals oppress them, every individual, but as a society, even by keeping silent to the oppressor, they are being among the oppressors. Like anyone from the Egyptian society, we would consider as enemy, as this one is mentioning. Yeah, the verse also says that, right? It says, there is this idea of Shia and Adu, like people of my group and people from my enemy. Because this is becoming the mindset. And in this case, you enter to the city when it's time of ghafla, meaning people are not paying attention to what's happening that much. It's just, in a sense, increasing the ambiguity. Like it's time of ghafla means, like if it was a big fight and the sides are clear, then maybe it's going to be easier to make a decision. But it's like murky waters, sort of. There's not much witness to tell you what's going on. You just dive into the situation. And then in this case, two men are fighting. It's not even the Egyptian is beating the other guy. Then again, it's going to be an easy case. Then maybe you would say, let's go ahead and save the one that's being oppressed. But in this case, two are fighting with each other. So, and just to make things more complicated, one of them is from your group. Like it's not only that one is from the oppressor group, the other one's from the oppressed group. This is not how the groups are identified. It's not saying that one is from the group of oppressor, the other one's the group of oppressed. It is saying that one is from his group and the other one is from his enemy's group. Like there's this group identity comes into the picture. And who is asking for help in this case? The one from his group is asking for help. What would you do in such a situation? You find yourself in such a situation. You can do it as, I don't know, let's take it to some simple case first, families. Like you and your, what is father's sister called? Aunt. Your mom and your aunt are not getting on well with each other too much, okay? And after your school, you go home for Eid, it's Eid time. And in Eid dinner, you just enter the room and there's a fight. Your mom and your aunt is fighting. So one is from your group, your mom. The other one is from your enemy because you know that your aunt had been messed in the past or something. And your mom says, oh, yes, there is also show it, like just bringing you into the case, showing you as evidence, let's say, or something of that sort is happening. What would you do? And maybe even more so, it is happening in, let's go back to Al-Hin Ghaflatin, because that's an interesting detail. Why does Quran mention that it is happening at a time of heedlessness? Nobody has seen what was happening, but then one of the two parties trying to drag you in. It's also interesting. It's not that the two were fighting and Musa decided to join the fight with his own will, saying that, let me deliver justice in this case. No, one of them is asking for help, pulling him in. What would you do in such a case? This is why I guess Quran is giving this example, because we can find ourselves in small family disputes like this, or in larger disputes, especially with social media and whatever. I don't know. Even let's start from something that's totally irrelevant to, at least for a Muslim in here. A guy gets murdered by another guy. Let's say, I don't know, this Charlie Kirk guy was murdered by some assassinator. Neither one of them are my relatives, but whatever. But do you find yourself leaning towards one or the other, to the extent that you hear things from the media? And you start maybe producing arguments in favor of one of them, and then discrediting the other. This would be one other case. What else could be? What else comes to your mind? Like, do you find, at least so far, is the story relatable? We didn't come to the resolution or anything, but just the framing of this entire story in a single sentence, in a single ayah. We need to fill up the gaps. If Quran leaves gaps, we need to fill it up and then apply to ourselves. Why is Quran mentioning that?
Very common also for it to happen for like people from your country, for example, and people from another country, or your race or things like that. And you're sometimes expected to just be in line with your people because they are your people, like nationalism or tribe, or your tribe also that happens from. So very similar.
Yeah. Today I was together with an Iranian friend. So, but there's a conflict that's going on. In one side there are Muslims, in the other side there are non-Muslims. But to make things more complicated, Muslims in the conflict are not Sunni but Shia. So, and the Iranian friend that I was with was a secular Iranian. So he is happy that, like, not happy, but happy, like this sort of a mixed feeling, because he wants to get rid of this current regime and whatnot. And he was asking me, what is the community around you think about it? So, like, what is your view? I said, I wanted to bounce the ball back to, like, the Turkish community in Turkey. I said, well, Iranians are enemy anyways. Like, so this is something that he wanted to hear. So, but what do you do? Like, what is the common point? How do you make a decision at this point? Because this was something that, honestly, I was disturbed. But still, me being disturbed also puts me on one camp, if you think about it. Throughout Taraweeh, for example, in none of the masajid that I have been to, Iran never made it to the Qunut at the end of Taraweeh. Like, the name never appeared there. I guess since the list was getting longer, that the Muslim countries were being attacked, even Yemen made it to the list, finally, since the list was getting longer, so it pushed up, but still, Iran is not there. So now we see an interesting case of Shia like grouping, supporting your own group. I'm referring back to the Shia in that verse here, from his group versus that group. Because the word Shia came from the Shia of Imam Ali, like the supporters of Ali. So what do we do? Because Musa alayhi salam made a decision, apparently, not exclusively, but it had a share that this guy was from my group, played a role. It seems like it, because verse is focusing on two things, or let's read into what verse is focusing on. First, it's happening in the time of needlessness. The second is making a choice between people of my group versus person from my enemy. Like the word is enemy versus my group. And interestingly, it didn't say min millatihi, like from his religion. He didn't say that min shi'atihi, from his group. Like it's a group identity. It's not a ideological togetherness, or the emphasis is not there. And then the one from his group was asking for help. This is another, I guess, important detail that the verse highlights. And finally, we can also apply it to the case that has been happening in Palestine, which was yet another recent event. What do we do? Because no matter what, we do take a stand. If you listen to it, your heart goes one way or another. Like unless you stop hearing, you lean one way or another.
I was thinking about it, but then like I feel like it's two people fighting, but isn't it obvious that this person is oppressed and that's why Prophet Musa decided to take this stance? Like in my head, because also if I'm thinking about like Palestine and what's happening, like for example, if I saw an Israeli in the street and a Palestinian in the street and then they were fighting, I would definitely be with the Palestinian no matter what, right? Because in my head, like yes, Palestinians are the ones who are oppressed because it's their land, and the same case here, like the people of Israel or children of Israel are the one being oppressed by the Egyptians. So I'll stand with the people of Israel. So, like, isn't it obvious? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like this is how Musa alayhi salam takes as well. And we'll see what he thinks about it eventually. Yes.
I guess one thing I was thinking about, like, for example, with maybe like the family arguments, is that I definitely do take a stance depending how close I am with one relative or another. And I feel like that's like maybe the fighting part, like seeing people fighting, like kind of stimulates like a reactionary response. Like depending on the urgency, I probably don't think much about how I respond. And so there's probably like for me, probably go based on this reaction and based on how close I am with someone, and then I don't know, say something, do something. And then maybe later on, I might find out if I think more about what actually happened. And as I learn more about the context of like why that fight was taking place, I might realize, oh, the situation was a bit more nuanced and like both parties might have felt like they were hurt for good reasons. And so I guess maybe this example is teaching us that things maybe aren't that obvious, and that in this fight, like we don't know why, like again, probably the detail was omitted for a reason, but at the end of the day, we don't know why they were fighting. And so the automatic decision to side with like Musa alayhi salam's group, like the man from his group, it was based on something that was just an identity, or not not based on any other details. And I was also thinking of another example. I think it was Dawood alayhi salam who had to make a judgment. It was either him or Sulaiman alayhi salam. I don't remember. Okay, Dawood alayhi salam, with I think the
Two brothers.
Two brothers. Yeah, I think it had to do with like the number of one
Yeah.
brother had like
99, the other one has one.
yeah, that example. I was thinking about that, and I think in that situation, it seemed like he had made a reasonable judgment, but he was still told to like
Listen to the other.
listen to God and pray.
So in that story, the one who has one is telling the case, and Dawood alayhi salam makes a judgment without listening to the case of the one who has 99. Because he says, my brother wants to take that one that's left in my hand also. Without listening to the one who has 99, his case, Dawood alayhi salam says, no, they should stay with you. And then this was the wrong decision because it was supposed to be given to Father. Inshallah, we should study that at some point as well, because these are very nuanced cases of justice, and it not only applies to human relationships, but any act of justice, like this can apply, for example, to separation of property between the Creator and you as well. Everything belongs to God, but this tiny thing belongs to each, so the distribution as well. Yes.
So another maybe related the story again with the Musa alayhi salam and the wise men. People talk about that. So wise men does certain things, representing the qadar, the what's the
Divine
determining perspective, and the Musa alayhi salam questioning this. You are killing a child, you are not supposed to kill a child. You are destroying some ship or the wall, fixing the wall, sorry. And you are not supposed to do that. So when we just get lost in the story, as a whole story, in the name of getting the whole picture, etc., we start criticizing the act of Moses, right? We say, but at the end, the wise man explained everything, and everything was for a reason. But when we look at the ayahs, actually the message that the ayah gives us is that this is the attitude that we should be having. The attitude of the Moses as a human being. Right? When you see such an unjust act from your perspective, you should be doing this, questioning, right? And then the answer may be given to you. So the same goes with that as well. Like we take it as a story, and probably, again, in the name of not losing the big picture or just attempt to not sugarcoat things, etc., we say Moses made a mistake and then repented. But when I look at the ayah, the way it is described, right? You see, let's make it more dramatic, and then we can, play with the shade of the grace later. You see your wife being assaulted because what they do, they're not just fighting; they are about to kill each other. Like the two people, they're fighting to, like in the form like the katana is used, right?
Qital means fight.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
Qatil means killing, but qital means fight.
But the translation also, most of the mufassir also take it as fight to kill each other. It's not just a word. This is how it is usually translated. It's probably because there are other words for fighting as well. Anyway, so again, just to make it more dramatic, you see that somebody is fighting with your wife, right? You wouldn't think what is going on. Like somebody is pushing your wife is pushing the other person, right? You will just get into the action and push the guy, right? With your fist or whatever you do. And then the word used there This time the qadar is not used, but qadar is used. Faqada ala, right? I check, with the when it is used with ala, if the meaning is different and so on. There are many meanings with ala. Even you can translate it as an out of the context, as being away with the guy, like being done with the guy. You just push him and say that, oh, that's all, go away, kind of, right? But also it also means terminate or kill, whatever. But the interesting thing, again, the word qadar not used is the qadar is used, right? As if saying that the Musa alayhi salam did not intend to kill already. He was trying to do the right thing, but as a consequence of qadar, again, the qadar is the outcome, like how would you say, the outcome of the qadar, right? This is how it is used. So the guy was supposed to die anyway, right? And this push or strike was just a means of it.
Something like then he slid and hit his head to the
Exactly.
or something.
Yes, exactly like that, right? You're just trying to save your life out of the fight. So it is implied there. So in that context, what Musa alayhi salam is doing, something human. I don't know about the Roman law that we follow right now, whether it is considered as, the murder or not. I don't know. But from a human perspective, I can, like without any sugarcoating, I can easily say that, okay, that was accident. And what Musa alayhi salam did was the right thing from his perspective. But then, once he understands in the following ayahs, what was it from the qadar perspective again? Just like the wise man story, right? He says, okay, that was obviously the wrong thing. Even with the death, like the guy dies, and he looks at himself, checks what he did, and he already repents. He says, okay, this is a bad thing happened, right? And then again, the qadar being revealed, the same guy asking help again for another person this time. Only at this point, we can say that what was done before was a mistake, but not a crime.
Yes. But I would like to add one tiny thing. Very beautiful. Jazakallah khairan. As will come in the next verse, like even in here, he says, هذا من عمل الشيطان. This is an act of Satan. Like he didn't reveal anything to us so far. He pushes the guy, let's say, as you mentioned, and accidentally the guy dies. He says, this is an act of Satan. What are we to understand, and what does this refers to? Like, is it referring to the entire ordeal or the guy accidentally dying? I mean, he definitely doesn't say that Satan killed the guy. Like we are talking about this wise person here doesn't blame Satan for the killing of a man, but for the ordeal itself, it looks like he's seeing something satanic. And in here, let's refer back to Quran. How does Quran refer to Satan? Like Satan is this liar, like distorting the truth. In a nutshell, this is how we can mention. So it looks like Musa alayhi salam is sensing a sense of mischief or lie going on in here, somewhere. But where is this lie happening? Is this lie happening in his view so far? Is this lie happening in his view in the guy from his group? Is this lie or mischief happening with the Egyptian? Or in himself? Like, why did he say this is Amal al-Shaitan? It says, إِنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ مُضِلٌّ مُبِينٌ, which is also interesting. Surely he is an enemy who openly misleads. That's interesting, openly misleads, because the situation was not an open situation. It was a muddy situation. It was foggy. I says Satan openly misleads people to the lie. So it must be something that after the fact he must be realizing that there was an open mistake in terms of how I engage with this. I agree that we would generally not immediately know it, especially given the situation like those. I already have this notion of my supporter versus my enemy. And then I entered to the situation when it was time of heedlessness, like as your example was very beautiful. Somebody is attacking my wife. Like the lines are so clear. And I'm just entering the scene. I don't have anything before, anything after. I'll just dive into the situation. So how is it that Satan openly mislead me in such a situation? Because in the next verse, he would immediately say, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي ظَلَمْتُ the Egyptian. No, he didn't say. He didn't say, indeed, I wronged the guy that I killed. He didn't say that. He says, I wronged myself. Now he is blaming himself for the way he got engaged with the situation. And this is how it happens with us as well. We catch ourselves later on. Because initially, with whatever information given to us, we make a judgment, correct? But maybe the question is, was I supposed to make that judgment immediately? Could this be something to learn from that story? Or is it that it's inevitable that I will make some judgments, and then I learn from Musa alayhi salam that I should blame myself rather than saying that, oh, the guys led, but they have been oppressors so far. What can I do? Trying to find myself excuses could have been an alternative route. But it's not what he is doing. He immediately steps back, says, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي فَاغْفِرْ لِي. So forgive me. Indeed, I wronged my soul for myself, so forgive me. فَغَفَرَ لَهُ. And then he forgave him. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Indeed, he is the forgiving, the merciful. That's an interesting case. That emphasis is happening. Nafsi, walamtu nafsi. And we do see this in, for example, Yunus alayhi salam's case as well. When he is in the belly of the fish, he again says, I wronged myself. And also, there are other verses where the Creator addresses his ibad, his servants, those who wrong themselves, wronging the self. How does one wrong themselves is now a question mark. How shall we take it? Let's talk about this a little. In this context, what would it mean in the case of this story? And in our personal cases, what would it mean to wrong myself by being engaged with this fight and then pushing someone? What is the alternative? Was he supposed to just ignore? Was he supposed to, wait a 1 second, gentlemen, let's sit and talk. What was he supposed to do? Because Brother Birkan's example is correct. You cannot simply say, oh, honey, you sit here. Oh, gentlemen, please, okay, sit down. And let's solve it with diplomacy. Yeah, let's talk with UN. Deal with UN diplomacy and whatnot. So what do we do? Any idea?
Pulling each other's hair. She's like, yeah, I was like,
Actually, today in my dream, I saw my grandfather. But it's a wisdom from my grandfather. If two people are fighting, don't get into the fight because you will get hit. Because that's what he did. Two young people were fighting, and he went in between them to separate them, and they were fighting in a construction site. and he gets out of his house. It's happening right next to his house. Separate them. One of the guys takes a stone and hits to my grandfather in the eye. And his one eye was 90% blind after this event. And his life get upside down after this point. Like he was this super tough guy. And my grandmother was heavily oppressed by him after this point. After this event, my grandmother became the boss. There's a kind in everything apparently. But the moral of that story, that life lesson was if two people are fighting, don't get into that because you will be beaten. Of course, that's not the moral of the story here. But what is it? How does Musa alayhi salam wrong himself in this case? Let's keep that question if you don't have an answer or.
Can I add to that?
Okay, there's something. Come on, yes.
Yeah. I think it's because Allah says humans were created in haste. So I think it's the haste of human beings that they don't think before they act. And it's also our nature, it's how we are made. So I think that's one of the reasons that Shaitan misuses our nature to misguide us. He knows that the Shaitan knows that we are always like in hurry. We will get to the conclusion without thinking, and therefore Allah always command us to like think about it, think of justice, listen to both sides. Don't rush towards judgment, don't rush towards conclusions. So I think with this verse, we can understand that always, take a pause, listen to both sides, think thoroughly, and then make a decision. Don't act out of reflex because anything done in hurry is something which is an act of shaitan. It's waswasa of shaitan. It's basically a way of shaitan misusing your nature, and that will lead you astray. So yeah, just adding a little point here. Thanks. Jazakallah.
Yes.
If there are someone else, okay. Because this could be controversial.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
My understanding with this, another example, the Adam alayhi salam, right? The Satan comes, Satan comes and tells something, right? The God doesn't want you to approach this creature because if you do, you will become like angels and live forever, right? And then Adam acts against the order, and then goes to the earth, the earth. So we can take the story as Adam did a mistake, and as a mistake he was not supposed to do, and God was disappointed. Punishment sent him down to the earth. I think the more realistic take from this ayah is Adam is a human being, and the way he's created, his desire for eternity, not being able to see in its entirety what is beyond what is given in front of him, etc., is the almost inevitable conclusion that the human beings act like this. This is your situation. You will always, right, fail seeing that everything is given to you is already eternal. They are living in heaven, right? It's already eternal creation. But they were not able to see it entirely. And this is the human condition. You will always do that. The point is not see it as a disappointment, but see it as an opportunity for repentance to get closer to the Creator. The same way, I think more realistic take of this ayah is not that Moses was supposed to think before acting, negotiate, try to do diplomacy, etc. No, this is the human condition. When you are part of such an experience, you cannot see beyond what is in front of you easily, right? In that regard, you will always fail. And this is our reality. You will do that, right? The point, what is distinguishing you from satanic, the amal, the act, is that you won't repent. So I think our lesson should be, we will fail, even when it is so obvious in front of eyes, right? It is so obvious that it is my wife against an enemy. I have to help, but you will not know that it was actually your wife started the fight. She did something nasty, said something nasty, and the fight started this way. You will not know that. There's no way you can know that because you don't have access to other. Right? Yes. So this is how you are supposed to do anyway. I mean, let's say this is how you will do anyway. So the right approach then, after doing that, there's no escape from. When you see your wife fighting with someone, you will help your wife.
So this
Do it.
no, this reminded me of a past experience. Now that you are digging it a little deeper,
Repentance. That's I think, the take-home message here.
so we are running out of time, but I have to give this anecdotal story. I'm not going to name the names, but once I rented a car with a female relative of mine. We were traveling, and then we left the car in a like we were in a country where in a city where parking was a problem. So we called the guys. They came and picked up the car and took it to the garage, wherever it was. The next day, they brought our car. We get the car and we continued our travel. But when the car came, my relative looked at the gas and said, "Oh, like this car is used. They used our gas." I looked at it. I don't remember like where the gas was. But of course, that's my relative. And you know, the garage, like car park business people are most of the time shady anyways. So I said, yeah, of course. And then
You have a bad intention though. You decided that I didn't have it.
And then the guys called back, the garage guys, and then give them to us over the phone, and then say, "Well, we have hundreds of cars in here. Why would would we use your car? Like there are tons of other cars. Come on."
It's not even a special one.
Yeah, it wasn't even not a special one. It was a small car. So then after we get back to the car, my relative confessed that, well, you know what? Actually, I don't remember. And then said, let this be a lesson to you. Never trust the first impulsive reaction of a female, she said. That was a good lesson, anyways. So, like that was, maybe I can also say, just to remove any bad things. That was one of my three sisters, but I'm not going to name my sister. Okay. So yes, we do get, I guess, especially in situations like this, it is at the time of ghafla for the city. There are not much observers to what's going on. But we do give quick decisions, yes. But in this case, rather than trying to blame others, Musa alayhi salam, even when he says, min amali shaitan, it's also interesting because generally we take hada min amali shaitan as blaming Satan. He doesn't do that again. He takes the blame on himself. So right next, so which means saying hada min amali shaitan means this was a clear deception, but I fell for it. And the clear deception in this case, like in my example, for instance, okay, there is a claim of my sister who is a trustworthy person, but human memory. And then there are those feelings, as much as I have suspicions about car park business owners in general, she does it as well. Like there's this bias. So, yes.
So I'm a little confused then because it seems to me that the like right approach is to not say that I made the right choice about something. But then how can you say if I'm bound to fail because I can't see beyond the situation, then how can I make the statement that I shall never support being guilty? I guess maybe
Okay.
because of the favor.
Let's come back to that. Yes, very good question. Why then does he say, now he is coming up to a conclusion, one sentence rule for himself. And I think this goes back to the verse which said, we taught him wisdom and knowledge. Now he is being taught wisdom in this verse, right? The Creator brings him to the conclusion to say that because of the favor that you have done me, I shall never support the guilty. He's not saying I shall never support the one from my group, because this was the source of his decision. There was a fight, there was identities, and there's a history between the two groups. And he made a decision based on that. But now he is making an update. He is saying that no, it was supposed to be between the guilty and non-guilty, not based on groups or history of people. Because he made the judgment about who is guilty or not based on the history, rather than knowing what's going on in here. So he is now developing, in a sense, a law for himself, or extracting the wisdom out of that. And this is how it will happen in life. Brother Birkin says, I will find myself in such situations. But then can we say, after this event, though, when next thing happens, he's going to be more careful. Can we expect that? But now that he extracted a rule, if something like this happens tomorrow, he should be more vigilant, right? Let's see if he will be. This is my last slide. I think we started 7-8 minutes late. Let's try to go through this and finish.
Always find an excuse.
إني ظلمت نفسي. Okay, so فأصبح في المدينة خائفا يترقب. So he stayed overnight, came in the city for the next morning, خائفا, with fear and also being vigilant. He is vigilant. That's what we were looking for. فإذا الذي استنصره بالأمس يستصرخ. The one who had appealed to him the day before cried out to him for help. Again, for a second time, the same guy the next day. قال موسى إنك لغوي مبين. Moses said unto him, you are truly, it's clear, a troublesome fellow. Now things are becoming clearer to him. Up until this point, though, he didn't know that he was a troublemaker by me. Like the previous conclusion was made without this knowledge, because he realized that irrespective of who was a troublemaker, still he's aware that his judgment was wrong. Or not judgment, but the way he engaged with the situation was wrong. Even if the outcome was right, the way I get engaged was wrong. This is an important distinction, I think. Because sometimes I might get engaged with taking it personal rather than based on truth. Like how I feel like it versus upholding the truth. This distinction might be important. And to quickly exemplify this, they mentioned that in one of the battles, a disbeliever, a mushrik, was fighting with Imam Ali, and then Imam Ali throws him to the ground and he's about to finish him, and then the guy spits at his face. And Imam Ali then turns his face and leaves the scene, and then he says, why didn't you kill me? He says, when you spit in my face, I get angry, and if I were to kill you then, I felt like I was going to do it because of my anger. And since it's now violating the truth, and it's the way I engage is going to become for nets, like personal reasons, that would be murder. Like that would be unjust, that would be insincere. That's why I turned my face. So Like, this is what I mean by personally, the way I personally get engaged with the event. So without knowing this detail, still he finds the way he got engaged as wrong. But now, the next day, the creator gives him another support, saying that, you know what, the guy was a troublemaker. But the next verse is interesting. Let's see where this goes. فلما أن أراد أن يبتش بالذي هو عدو لهما. This is also a very tough verse. And when he intended to strike the man who was an enemy unto them both. عدو لهما. Who are they here? Like, because Musa alayhi salam is going to قال موسى أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت نفسا بالأمس إن تريد أن لا تكون جبارا في الأرض. So, as when he intended to strike the man, like Musa alayhi salam is now intending to strike the man. Which man is he intending to strike? Is becoming a question. Because he is now, after the revelation of the event that the Israelite is the troublemaker here, is the verse referring to, is now Musa alayhi salam being side with the Egyptian and trying to hit the Israelite? Which is minority opinion. Majority opinion in Tafasir is, no, he still sides with the Israelites and is about to strike the Egyptian guy. Both are mentioned in Tafasir, but it's left ambiguous there. Quran doesn't explicitly indicate that. Like, it can be understood both ways. The reason the majority says still Musa alayhi salam is doing it with like him and the Israelite is again the them part in this verse, lahuma, adu lahuma, and the adu, the enemy in this case is still the Egyptian, because this is how the previous verse was referring to the enemy, number one. Number two, because the closest subject to here is the first guy, so it goes to him. But I am leaning towards this second more, the way that story is unfolding. Because Musa alayhi salam is now understanding that this guy's a troublemaker. And in this fight, it looks like he's having some issue there. And now he might be siding. So I would like to go with the minority opinion here. He is siding with the Egyptian and about to strike the Israeli in this case. One way or another, what's happening is the guy says, he says, قال, again, who is saying in here is flipping based on which interpretation you take. قال يا موسى أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت نفسا بالأمس? Would you kill me like you killed someone yesterday? Now, this is becoming a declaration of pinpointing to Musa as the murderer of the yesterday's events, because the event took place when nobody was there. Like, was either there were no evidence left who killed, because two people were fighting, one of them is already dead, the other one is the one who saved his skin. إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. And on top of this is further saying that you would be nothing but a tyrant in the land and you would not be of the reformers. He's just pushing the boundaries. So, and then the rest of the story is going to go as somebody will come and tell him that leave the city and whatnot. So that part is there. So what does this extra information now tell us about the situation? How does it help us with our understanding for the case with me, my wife, and who she's fighting with? Or how would you like to take both cases? Which one sounds more familiar, more reasonable for you in this story? Yes.
It seems like, if we go with the opinion that, he is intending to strike, the Egyptian, then Musa alayhi salam is still coming into this situation with more awareness, as you were saying, like with a little bit more awareness of what he should, or what at least how he should think about things, but would still be deciding to side again, but because of identity. So now it's a different thing. It's like, I know if I side with, if my aunt and my mom are fighting and I know that my mom is kind of wrong, but I'm still siding with her to show her loyalty or to not cause more problems. And if you go with the opinion that, like you said, that he was intending to strike the one from his camp, then he's still making the same judgment. He's just flipping. He's also still deciding who is guilty based on yesterday's event, which, if the lesson is that we don't know how to decide, then it's still the same problem, because you're still coming into the situation. Your prior knowledge may only apply to yesterday's situation. Today again is a new situation. You don't also know who's guilty. So you're just flipping the other side of the coin and still acting and striking, because the action here is striking. It's not just like separating and getting struck or something. You're still making the same act. You're just, in this case, you're just flipping who you decide is guilty. So I don't know what to take from this.
That's a good word, actually, because this is how I feel sometimes. I say, well, I am moving to another city, mom and aunt, you can find whatever you want. I'm just leaving the scene. I don't know if this is a proper thing to do also, right? So
To make it clearer, if we continue with our example with the wives. Next day, you see your wife again fighting with someone else in the same way. And what you are doing this time is not striking, is trying to hold your wife. He's not striking this time. When, the enemy onto them flow,
he intended to strike. Rather يبطش.
oh, show me yes, rather,
يبطش. He intended to strike.
I didn't check the word, but I remember most Mufassir taking the word as holding. When he tried to hold the guy. I mean, it's not the same word with the previous one, that's for sure. So the amal is different this time. Whatever it means, it's a different amal. You're not doing the same thing. And again, so I think the point is you have limited information, so you should be more careful while you are acting on your impulses. I think that's not the message. The message is, with your actions as a human being, you will be always lacking. And you should be aware of that, aware of this lack. And you should be repenting because of this, that you are easily misled. You know that. The point is not act anymore. I mean, it is not acting anymore. The moral of the story is not to tell us you shouldn't act anymore. No, you learn something. Now change your amal, change your action, but do something. You should do something. All of the men, right? Again, I'm not sure about, I didn't check the detail for the word, but one thing we're sure that it's a different action and field, the different word. So he's not doing the same mistake or anything, similar to that. You just realize that your wife keeps fighting with everyone. There must be something maybe wrong with your wife, right? And you say that, okay, come here.
Yeah. And the very last part of this verse, like if we take it, like it could be taken as somebody who is, like if you read it as the Israelite, in this case, saying the sentence as if betraying and announcing that Moses killed the guy and then even accusing him further. That's one way to read it. Or if you read it as a truthful message, in Allah تكون جبارا في الأرض. Don't be a tyrant on earth. وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. He would not be of the reformers. Can we take this as a rightful message as well? Like saying that with this way of acting, you cannot correct the wrong, and you would do nothing. Because in this case, what's happening? Musa alayhi salam is not trying to do injustice. Like being part of this fight, he could have simply avoided it. But him being engaged with it, your mom and your aunt are fighting. Well, of course, you can just say, just figure it out among yourselves. But you're being part of it to fix something. But sometimes the way I try to fix it, again, based on how this is about my internal dynamics, am I really trying to fix something, or am I making another tyranny? Because sometimes it might happen that two of my kids are fighting, and I am dealing with them. Am I really trying to fix it, or I got annoyed, and I am trying to just show them that, oh, Ali, you're being bossy over your sister Zainab. I am the bossy. Just get away from here. I'm going to set the rules, not you. Is this my attitude? I know better than you. Is this my attitude? Like can I take this from the story? Not to say that this was Musa's problem or not, but this could be my problem. The way I engage with such cases. So, wrapping it up, what stands out to me here is especially the word my supporters versus my enemy. This is playing a huge role in my decisions. And I need to think twice, number one, because this is making me engaged with the topic not based on wisdom as such, which is mentioned in verse number 17. I'm not going to support the guilty, but it's more so like I will support the ones that are of my camp, and I'm going to be against those that are the enemies. Like he is updating this rule. This is one of the major things that stood out to me. And then second thing that stood out to me was after seeing this, putting the blame on how I got engaged with the matter. Walamtu nafsi, I wronged myself. In this event, he is immediately seeing through. He didn't say, I wronged the guy who died, because he didn't mean to kill the guy anyways. So he's not taking the blame for the killing. But the issue is the way I got engaged with it. And he's not putting the blame on the Egyptian guy, the Israelite in this case. He is putting the blame on himself. This is number two that stood out to me. I think these are the two major things. Anything else you would like to add as a summary for what you took out from this story? If two things or three things for us to remember. Oh, the third that I can add with what Brother Birkan said. In life, I will fall into such things, but rather than just beating up myself, Musa alayhi salam went through that, but this was a means of him receiving wisdom and knowledge. So turning it into an opportunity by showing repentance, saying that this was an act of my Creator teaching me something. And then with istighfar, with repentance, turning back to Him and taking a lesson out of this. A lesson which is interestingly related to bima an'amta alayhi. You bestowed something upon him. Like he is taking this as an interaction between him and his Creator. He's not saying that, oh God, I learned this, that's good. Like sometimes it happens, right? A teacher teaches you something, you take the knowledge and get away with it. And you barely send an email message 10 years later to your teacher saying that, oh yeah, you taught me. Like it's not the focus at all. The focus is what I learned rather than who taught it to me. But Musa alayhi salam in here, emphasizing the relationship with his Father. My sustainer taught this to me. My sustainer gave this favor, ni'mat, to me. Any concluding remarks? People are starting to sign off. Anything else? Was there something? No.
The character of Musa alayhi salam, I think, is very important. Because if you take Musa alayhi salam out of the picture, you get very passive, passive believers who are not acting, who are not, striking injustice. I think Musa alayhi salam teaches us that sometimes, and this is part of the humanity as well, that you should act upon whatever is given to you, act. Be aware that you will be lacking, but don't be like fools who think they can control everything with diplomacy.
Good. And inshallah, maybe next week we can go to the other extreme. Ibrahim alayhi salam.
That's the reason I said, if you take out the picture of Musa alayhi salam from it, yes, it's the combination of all, right, that defines the right human being.
سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة